Remember the days of pay-as-you-go phones and $0.25 meme taxes? Yeah, middle school was rough. Especially when Direct, the human meme, drained your account with lolcats. You swore revenge, but years later, fate throws you a garage sale bonanza. Direct's attic, overflowing with vintage gaming gold. Pokemon, Legos, Star Wars, oh my. A treasure trove worth potentially tens of thousands, all yours for a sweet $400. But it's not just about the cash. It's about justice, served cold with a sign of pixelated nostalgia. Will you strike it rich, leaving Derek's legacy in the dust? Or will this retro haul hold unexpected secrets? Dive into a story of sweet revenge, nerdy delights, and maybe, just maybe, a little closure. Ah, the early 2010s. A simpler time before the constant hum of notifications and the endless scroll of social media. I feel you on that clunky slide phone and the pay-as-you-go plan that felt like a ticking time bomb for your wallet. $0.10 a minute for calls and texts. Ouch. And let's not even get started on the photo tax, $0.25 each. That was basically the price of a small pizza back then. But hey, it wasn't all bad. You had to get creative to stay connected, and that fostered some pretty ingenious workarounds. Calling and dropping to switch to a landline, pure hustle. Remember the mad dash to find a computer with internet access just to chat with friends on Skype. Dial-up sounds and all, those were the days. And honestly, it wasn't like you were missing out on much on those early smartphones. The camera quality was a potato's wet dream, the apps were basic at best, and the battery life. Forget about it. You were lucky if it lasted half the day. But there was a certain charm to that limited connectivity. It forced you to be more present in the moment, to actually talk to people face to face and engage in real-world activities. You knew everyone's landline number by heart, could navigate your town blindfolded, and had a social life that thrived outside the glow of a screen. So, while I wouldn't trade my current smartphone for the world, hello, unlimited data, and cat videos, there's a nostalgic pang for those simpler days of the early 2010s. The days of slide phones, pay-as-you-go anxieties, and creative connection hacks. It was a different era, but it was ours, and it shaped who we are today. 7th grade was supposed to be the year of awkward dances, braces-clad smiles, and whispered secrets shared under the bleachers. Yet with Direct's arrival, our carefree haven morphed into a minefield of drama and manipulation. He initially charmed us with his quick wit and offbeat humor, but soon the cracks began to show. His jokes turned mean-spirited, his pranks edged towards cruelty. He thrived on pitting us against each other, whispering sly remarks that ignited simmering tensions. Outside our circle, he wasn't much better. He reveled in stirring up trouble, leaving a trail of hurt feelings and broken friendships in his wake, and when confronted, he'd morph into the wounded lamb, his crocodile tears fooling not us, but perhaps those unfamiliar with his dark side. His manipulative tactics extended beyond social dynamics. He was the lone friend who blatantly disregarded my phone woes. I had a limited prepaid plan, where each picture message cost a precious 25 cents. Yet, Derek bombarded me with a daily barrage of nonsensical memes, each pixelated monstrosity chipping away at my dwindling credit. Email them, Skype them, I'd plead, voice strained with exasperation. But blocking numbers on my prehistoric pay-as-you-go plan was like trying to build a sandcastle in a hurricane. I was trapped in a digital deluge, every blip and buzz a reminder of his disregard for my boundaries. Derek's presence cast a long shadow over our group, sullying the once unblemished canvas of our friendship. But even in the face of his toxicity, hope flickered. We learned to navigate the minefield he created, forging stronger bonds within our core group. And eventually, like weeds choked out by sun-drenched flowers, Derek faded into the periphery, his reign of discord a fading memory. 7th grade may have been marked by his unwelcome presence, but it also taught us about resilience, the power of genuine friendship, and the importance of setting boundaries, even against the most charming of manipulators. We emerged stronger, our laughter a little wiser, our circle a little tighter, forever marked by the fleeting shadow of the boy who tried to dim our light. I hope this rewrite conveys the emotional depth of your experience while offering a touch of humor and relatable imagery. Remember, even under the darkest shadows, friendship's light can persevere. He day started like any other. School, books, the usual teenage grind. But then came the memes. An avalanche of lolcats, over 100 of them, flooding my phone like a digital tidal wave. My phone sputtered, choked by the sheer volume, finally surrendering with a whimper. No service. That whimper turned into a roar when I checked my account. The $40 I desperately needed for next month's concert, gone. Vanished in a pixelated storm of internet felines. Fury surged through me. Derek, the friend who unleashed this meme apocalypse, met my rage with nonchalance. Not my problem, he shrugged, leaving me fuming and broke. I stomped home, picturing Dad storming off to Derek's house, a verbal flamethrower in hand. Instead, he met me with a sigh and a quiet, "It's not worth the fight." Disappointment stabbed me. Not because of the money, though that hurt, but because it felt like surrender. Small claims court. I pleaded, grasping at straws. Dad shook his head, a sad wisdom in his eyes. Some battles, honey, just aren't worth winning. His words felt like sandpaper against my raw anger. But as we drove to the carrier store, his hand on my shoulder a silent anchor, I started to see it differently. The money was gone, yes, but so was the drama. Dad wasn't waving a white flag. He was building a bridge, a path away from the petty squabbles and needless conflict. With a tap and a swipe, $50 replaced the lost funds. They had initially said that blocking phone numbers wasn't possible with this plan, but my dad insisted and would not leave the store until they did it. I was extremely paranoid about my phone number being leaked and other kids spamming it to fuck with me. That summer brought about a big shift in family technology. iPhones. We all got hooked up on the new family plan, which I have to admit felt pretty cool at the time. Unlimited texting. A world of possibilities opened up in my 13-year-old mind. Now, Derek's $40 heist still stung. It wasn't just the money, it was the betrayal, the disrespect. But karma, as they say, has a way of balancing things out. And boy, did it ever. Towards the end of the school year, Derek's true colors really started to show. A major, friend group shattering incident unfolded, and let's just say, his behavior wasn't exactly winning him any awards. We reached a point where his negativity and drama simply weren't welcome anymore. So, with a collective sigh of relief, we made the decision to part ways. The next year, 8th grade, was a stark contrast for Derek. The ostracized persona seemed to stick. Nobody had the patience for his antics anymore. It wasn't long after that he decided to move on to a different school. And that, honestly, was that. We didn't hear from him again, and frankly, the air felt a whole lot lighter without him around. It was a crisp Saturday morning, a few years after I traded in the mortarboard for the unknown possibilities that lay beyond graduation. Back home for a brief interlude before diving headfirst into a new job on the other side of the country, I found myself drawn to the familiar rhythm of garage sales. Rows of mismatched furniture and faded treasures glinted under the dappled sunlight, each item whispering tales of lives lived and stories untold. At one particular sale, I met Derek's mom. Recognition flickered in my eyes as I saw her, though I doubt she registered me. A few years, coupled with the transformative magic of glasses and a burgeoning beard, can work wonders on one's anonymity. As I browsed the assortment of trinkets, my gaze snagged on a stack of faded Pokemon napkins. Memories, warm and pixelated, flooded back. Afternoons spent glued to the Game Boy, the vibrant world of Kanto unfolding before me in all its glory. Picking up the napkins, I commented on the nostalgia they evoked. Oh, those. Derek's mom chuckled, her tone laced with a tinge of exasperation. Derek and his Pokemon. Been obsessed with them since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. Filled up half the house with the stuff. Really? I feigned casual interest, my heart already doing a victory lap inside my chest. I have a younger cousin who's absolutely wild about Pokemon. These napkins would make his day. Well, I wouldn't know, she replied, her voice softened by a hint of wistfulness. Thought all that was a thing of the past. Still got a few boxes up in the attic, though. Son's old stuff. To my utter astonishment, she actually ushered me inside the house, a place I'd never imagined returning to after, well, let's just say things hadn't ended on the most amicable of notes. The familiar scent of cinnamon and worn paperbacks washed over me, conjuring a bittersweet cocktail of memories. We ascended the creaky attic stairs, anticipation buzzing in the air like a swarm of excited Pikachus. Reaching the dusty attic, she pointed to a collection of cardboard boxes stacked haphazardly in a corner. My fingers itched with anticipation as I carefully lifted the first one. Christmas ornaments tumbled out, followed by a motley crew of forgotten toys and knickknacks. But then, as she opened another box, my breath hitched. Inside, nestled like precious jewels, lay a treasure trove of Pokemon video games, their original cardboard sleeves boasting vibrant artwork and promising countless adventures. I managed to maintain a semblance of composure, but inside, I was a kid in a candy store. Years of repressed Pokemon fandom surged to the surface, threatening to erupt in a torrent of squeals and giddy pronouncements. With a carefully measured voice, I inquired about their availability, my fingers already twitching towards the gleaming cartridge of Pokemon Red. And that, dear listener, is where the adventure truly begins. For amidst the dusty boxes and forgotten toys, I rediscovered not just a trove of childhood nostalgia, but a chance to reconnect with a part of myself that had been gathering dust in the attic of my own making. Stay tuned for the next chapter, where we'll delve into the pixelated depths of Kanto, relive epic battles, and maybe even catch a few legendaries along the way. My heart thumped in my chest as I stepped over the threshold. The familiar scent of Derek's house, a mix of old books, dust bunnies, and a hint of his mom's lavender potpourri, washed over me. It was a scent that instantly transported me back to our childhood, to afternoons spent huddled around his TV, battling pixelated monsters and trading holographic treasures. Back then, Pokemon wasn't just a game, it was a religion, and Derek was its most devout follower. He wasn't just a collector, he was a curator, a historian, a walking encyclopedia of all things Pokemon. He owned every single main series game in its original box, each one a pristine artifact in his shrine of nostalgia. I remember one time visiting his house and daring to breathe on a cartridge. The look of pure, unadulterated horror that contorted his face was etched into my memory. "Nobody touches the games," he declared, his voice trembling with righteous indignation. "Except me." Fast forward to the present day. Derek was long gone, scattered to the winds of adulthood and lost touch. But the legend of his Pokemon obsession remained, a whispered myth among our old friend group. So, when I found myself on his doorstep, years after that fateful cartridge incident, it was with a specific mission in mind. I'd heard whispers, rumors passed down through the grapevine, of a hidden trove, a Pokemon El Dorado. Apparently, Derek's mom, bless her soul, hadn't quite grasped the sentimental and financial value of her son's collection. There might be, just might be, a treasure chest overflowing with forgotten Pokeballs and dusty Game Boys. With a carefully casual air, I asked the question that had been burning in my mind since I'd stepped foot in his house. "Hey, Mrs. Derek's last name," I began, "do you happen to have any other Pokemon stuff lying around?" Her face, etched with the lines of time, but still holding the echo of Derek's mischievous grin, broke into a wide smile. "Pokemon," she chuckled. "Why, Derek had mountains of that stuff. Let me see." And then it happened. She disappeared into the labyrinthine depths of Derek's old room and emerged, arms laden with a bounty that would make any trainer weep tears of joy. Original Game Boys, their screens glowing faintly even in the dim light. Stacks of trading cards, each one a tiny portal to a forgotten world of pocket monsters. And the piece de resistance, a cardboard box overflowing with Pokemon games, their cardboard shelves whispering tales of epic battles and pixelated triumphs. In that moment, I wasn't just holding a box of old games. I was holding a piece of our childhood, a tangible reminder of the days when the world was filled with Pikachus and Squirtle squads, and the only thing that mattered was catching 'em all. This wasn't just a Pokemon pilgrimage, it was a resurrection. A chance to breathe life back into a lost era, to relive the magic that had bound us together as kids. And as I sifted through the cartridges, a single tear traced its way down my cheek, a testament to the enduring power of nostalgia and the bonds forged in the fires of a shared passion. So, the next time you find yourself rummaging through an attic or a dusty basement, remember that buried beneath the cobwebs and forgotten trinkets might lie a treasure trove of memories, waiting to be rediscovered. And who knows, maybe you'll stumble upon your own personal Pokemon El Dorado, a testament to the enduring power of childhood dreams and the games that helped us catch them all. Dust motes danced in the pale light filtering through the basement window as I cracked open the first box. My heart hammered against my ribs, a counterpoint to the creak of old hinges. Inside, nestled in faded cardboard, lay a childhood dream. A pristine collection of Pokemon games, their cartridges gleaming like gemstones. Memories flooded back, countless hours spent battling pixelated creatures, trading holographic treasures, and chasing the thrill of completing the Pokédex. But the boxes held more than just Pokemon. Each one, like a portal to a forgotten era, unfolded a universe of gaming nostalgia. Nintendo consoles, sleek and familiar, their controllers worn smooth by countless joysticks and buttons. Stacks of game cases, their colorful artwork whispering forgotten adventures. And then the piece de resistance. 24 binders, bursting with Pokemon cards, each one a tiny portal to a fantastical world. My gaze snagged on a flash of silver and green. Jango Fett, the Mandalorian bounty hunter, stared back from his Lego set, his helmet glinting with the promise of epic space battles. This wasn't just a box of childhood relics. It was a treasure trove, a gateway to 1,000 joyful memories. As I carefully sifted through the Lego bricks, their smooth, worn plastic evoking memories of afternoons spent constructing fantastical worlds, I knew I'd struck gold. This wasn't just about nostalgia, it was about vindication. Years ago, a friend, Derek, had borrowed $40 and vanished without a trace. The sting of betrayal had lingered, a dull ache in the back of my mind. But here, amidst the plastic bricks and pixelated monsters, a sense of sweet justice bloomed. This haul, I realized, was worth far more than Derek's measly debt. It was a reminder of the simple joys, the unbridled imagination, and the enduring power of a childhood passion. Bargaining with the owner, a kind woman with a twinkle in her eye, felt almost anticlimactic. $400 for a lifetime of memories. It felt like stealing candy from a baby Arceus. But as I loaded the 5 boxes into my dad's truck, the weight of them felt strangely satisfying. It wasn't just about the potential value, though that was undeniable. It was about reclaiming a piece of myself, brick by brick, cartridge by cartridge, card by card. The drive home was a blur of anticipation. Each bump in the road threatened to dislodge a precious memory, but my grip on the boxes was tight. Arriving home, I practically sprinted inside, eager to crack open the treasure and dive into the pixelated past. This wasn't just a score, it was a homecoming, a chance to reconnect with the wide-eyed wonder of a simpler time. And as I sorted through the games, cards, and Legos, a smile, as bright as a freshly charged Pikachu, spread across my face. The $40 Derek had stolen might be gone, but here, in this basement filled with echoes of childhood laughter, I had found something far more valuable. A priceless reminder of the joy that comes from losing yourself in a world of imagination. The air hung heavy with a mix of nostalgia and finality as I surveyed the mountain of belongings sprawled across my living room floor. Each item, from the dusty box of childhood comics to the chipped ceramic teapot inherited from my grandmother, held a fragment of my past. Yet the weight of these memories wasn't just sentimental, it was financial. It was years of stolen security, courtesy of Derek's dubious borrowing habits. Enter my knight in shining armor and eBay expertise, Uncle Arthur. A seasoned reseller with a twinkle in his eye and a nose for a bargain, he saw opportunity where I saw overwhelm. His unwavering offer to handle the entire liquidation process, from meticulous item cataloging to individual online listings, was met with my initial, albeit polite, resistance. "But uncle," I protested, "it's so much work. Surely you deserve more than a measly 10% after all that effort." He chuckled, a warm rumble that crinkled the corners of his eyes. "Nonsense, my dear. Think of it as my investment in your fresh start. Besides, the thrill of the hunt is reward enough for this old dog." And so began our grand eBay escapade. Armed with spreadsheets, packing tape, and an arsenal of vintage knowledge, we transformed my living room into a bustling mini warehouse. Each item, from the well-worn leather satchel to the chipped blue teacup, Grandma would have forgiven the chip, I knew, was photographed, described, and meticulously logged. The sum total? A staggering $40,000, a poetic number, considering it was 1,000 times the value of what Direct had pilfered years ago. Summer flew by in a whirlwind of online auctions, bidding wars, and the satisfying clink of virtual coins. By the time the leaves started turning golden, most of the treasures had found new homes, leaving me with a bittersweet ache alongside a hefty check from Uncle Arthur. It wasn't quite $40,000, thanks to eBay fees and the occasional bargain hunting buyer, but the amount that landed in my account was still life-changing. Student loans became a distant memory, replaced by the exhilarating hum of a down payment on a sleek new car. As I drove off in my shiny chariot, the rearview mirror reflected not just the road ahead, but a newfound sense of liberation. Direct's shadow, once looming large, had shrunk to a faint smudge in the distance. In its place bloomed a future, paved with financial security and the knowledge that sometimes letting go can lead to the sweetest, most unexpected victories. So, here's to second chances, supportive uncles, and the magic of turning clutter into cash and freedom. Cheers to your journey, and may your new car carry you towards horizons as bright as your future.